Oh, Don.
Don.
Long.
Well, good evening, members of council, members of our management team. We have Mr. Paul Sergey in our gallery here in council chamber. We have 14 attendees that have joined us by electronic media. The time is 12:09. I would ask a member of council that we move to call the meeting to order.
I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second.
Second.
Second, Councilor Tom McBride, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carry. I want to start off item number 2, our land acknowledgement. And these land acknowledgements are critical for reconciliation. And reconciliation is happening in our communities, our province, our country, and the world, and on all continents. So we respectfully acknowledge the town of Stephenville as the ancestral homeland of different populations of Indigenous people. We also acknowledge with respect the rich histories and cultures of the Beothuk, the Mi'kmaq, the Innu and Inuit of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Item number 3, circulated via electronic or in print. I would ask a member of council to move that we approve the agenda as circulated.
So move.
Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, seconder.
Second. Okay.
Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. All in favor?
Aye.
Carry. Okay, item number 4. The public meeting a couple of weeks back, dated April the 11th, 2024, was circulated by our town clerk management team. I would ask a member of council to we approve those minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Elward, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts.
Point out, Mr. Mayor, under unfinished business in those minutes, as Councilor O'Brien asked whether a former member of the airport corporation might be able to meet the council and make some clarifications regarding the deal. That should have been former members.
Okay, just for clarity, yeah,
Yeah.
former members, okay.
Members.
With that noted, for an edit correction. Thank you, Councilor O'Brien.
And they'll be adjusted as per indication.
So all in favor?
Aye. Our training says we get to visit this visually. Oh,
Yeah. Because sometimes it's hard for me to even scan everybody, you know?
everybody puts up the
It's
hand.
nice to put up the hand and say yay or nay. Well, don't put up your hand if you're saying nay.
Until you says
Unless I call for the vote.
unless you says compromise.
Yeah. So we just had one, item number 5 was the matters arriving from those minutes. It was noted by Councilor O'Brien. Any other matters arising from the minutes? No matters arising. No proclamations and delegations today. Okay. So item number 7 is our committee reports. I'm going to turn it over to our Chair of Finance, Councilor Myra White, for 7.1.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our attendees online. The Finance Committee met on April 23rd, 2024, and the following items were recommended for council approval. Accounts payable April the 25th, 2024. Be it resolved to pay accounts payable for April the 25th, 2024 in the amount of $105,244.10. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second by Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, we should break some of the numbers down so people get an idea of what we're spending 105,000 on, so.
Yeah, and we tend to just go with a couple of the big items.
Yeah. One item here is 24,162.59 for Atlantic Technical Service. That's the gas tax project and valves, that type of thing. The battlefield equipment, $6,766. That is the brush kit for our Bobcat, I mean, the sweeping streets now. It's but there's always telephone bills, $1,215. There's a multitude of small ones and $200 and $300 ones, which adds up. $2,120 for Champion commercial products. That's the batteries and safety ties. We have $2,903 for City Chrysler getting us repairs for our vehicles. The Coastal Glass 2018 that was put the murals on the wall here. The College of Northern Atlantic 2,254. Sporting college, they do a lot of their training in this training was women's training, basically dangerous goods training. The Cornier's one-stop bottle, $4,301. That's 3 pairs from our equipment. We have Crane Supply, $4,485, which is basically the water supplies, piping, stuff like that. The Public Works has had a number of breaks lately in our main water line. Another substantial one, which is, I'll point out, it's a quarterly payment. The Municipal Assessment Agency, that's the basically provincial government that does the assessments on all the properties around town. And the quarterly payments, and this is the second quarterly payment, $21,820.50. So you mean times that by 4 quarters, you mean we pay over $80,000 to the Municipal Assessment Agency to do the assessments in town. Petty's Plumbing and Heating, $1,791.27. Most of that is for the sewer camera work. And we did have a sewer camera up in our Public Works, and our Public Works Management was going to check to see if it's still there, if it's operational. If not, I think we'll be seeing also come back to council where we have our own sewer camera. They would be able to do a whole lot more on it. Is $676, which is for a free Easter swim, which is good for us to have. $2,295 for Safety Source Industrial Safety Supplies. $3,489 for legal fees. Western Hydraulic and Mechanical, $3,639. Again, I mean that's the parts and that for our equipment. So that's some of the larger ones, just so that the residents get at least some idea where the money's going.
And at any time that they want to have a copy, I think that we can let them know if they request to request the invoice or request.
I think the same stuff online anyway, doesn't it?
Accounts payable,
Some of it does, it's not always published, but, it's not, there's nothing to prevent us from publishing on
That's right.
a regular basis.
Yes.
I think more of the stuff that we can publish, and once we approve of this public document, I mean, it may slow down some of the tip requests that comes in. Looking for information.
so thank you from that, Councilor O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dr. Bryan? Carry.
Item number 2 is property tax. Be it resolved that property tax write-offs in the amount of $1,684.56 and adjustments of $2,065.99 be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye. Water and sewer tax.
Approved. Carry.
Oops, sorry. Be it resolved that water and sewer tax adjustments of $1,009.68 be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Did we do number 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was number 3. Carry.
Item number 4, remissions of tax. Be it resolved that the remission of tax in the amount of $4,632.59 and refunds of $179.28 be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. Favor?
Aye.
Carry.
It should be pointed out in there, I think that when we do these write-offs, whether it's property tax, water and sewer, remission of tax or business tax. Even as members of council, we don't see the names on the accounts. I mean, under the Privacy Act, I mean,
Privacy.
all comes forward is the account number. The submission on the adjustments that need to be made is done by the tax collector and is reviewed by usually the clerk, in absence of the clerk, the manager or the assistant manager to verify exactly what's on the report is accurate. So I mean,
And to that, Mayor, also, these are all, my apologies. These are all vetted, and additionally, by legislation, any of the remissions or refunds and all this sort of thing, they all have to be processed accordingly. There is no, we can't make a decision to avoid anything. The taxation, the legislation is clear. It has to be paid, and then if there are adjustments to be made, there is a process that we go through with any resident of the community, and they have to apply for it.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mr. Ramsey.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I think we already did all in favor.
That was the remission. Business tax?
Okay, number 6, Councilor White.
5.
Oh, sorry, number 5.
Business tax, be it resolved that business tax adjustment of $2,536.40 be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder. Second, Councilor Laura Elward. All in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Item number 6, request adoption of policy for taxation of non-profit organizations. Be it resolved as per the attached policy to be adopted by council. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
And I guess a copy of the policy will be put on our website when these minutes are hooked into the website.
All the
It's all,
right policy to the council. The more we can get it up on our website, the more openness and transparent it will be for the general public. And this is focused on our nonprofit community groups, primarily nonprofit organizations. And they put a lot of volunteer work in our town, and we are very grateful for all they do. Okay.
item number
Councilor White.
7, community grant program. Be it resolved to approve the following community grants for the total of $39,310.73. I'm going to name the organization and the amount that's been awarded to each of these groups. Whaleback Nordic Ski Club, $11,685.69. Bay St. George Disc Golf, $3,197.99. Bay St. George Mountain Bike Club, $7,427.05. And the Southwest Coast SPCA, $17,000. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second.
Seconded.
Second, Councilor Maurice Hines. Just want to say this is part of our new strategy that we put together last year, where we actually have intake with our community groups for grants, the Community Development Fund, and we do a spring and a fall. And management recommended we do 2 intakes because some of our community groups are more winter focused. Some of our community groups are more summer, spring focused. Some are all year round. They felt it was more openness and transparent, but it's great to see. And they also do a lot of great work in our community. All in favor?
Aye. Item 8,
Favor?
request.
Carry? Okay.
I keep.
Carry? Good.
Carry.
Yep.
Item number 8, request accessibility plan 2024 to 2026. Be it resolved that council pay the invoice for services provided by JW Consulting Associates in the amount of $7,652.50. Be approved. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts.
The Mayor, this is substantial plan there. I mean, Marissa, our recreation person, was highly involved in it, but I think it would be appropriate at some time to get her in to basically go through the plan with council as a whole. So it can just also work along with it. But I think Marissa was the go-to person that put a lot of time into it. So we could get her in to go through the plan.
And I think Deputy Mayor Susan Powell, you're on that committee, was part of the planning for that. So we're moving forward in the right direction. Accessibility is important,
And inclusion.
and it's always a moving target for us.
Just a side note on that, after we had our meeting last week, we redid the entrance to the Legion. So now it's completely wheelchair accessible. We've taken out even that 1-inch slip that was there and everything done. So it really made us conscious of it as well.
Yeah, that's good.
I could also expand on the accessibility plan and a request for a presentation. So we have a really good foundation right now. I don't think we have the plan that's ready to adopt at all. So, with the work that JW Consultants did, it set us off on a path where we're going to follow now. And we have our advisory committee in place. We're going to follow up with them. We're going to continue to have discussions, community consultation, engagement, and then we'll be able to present our final product, which we hope will be in the fall. So we have some additional meetings set and some other priorities that we have to attend to before we call it a final plan. But so that's where we're going with that.
Just a quick one, will that be open to different organizations as well?
Certainly will. We plan to engage the community, the business, the BIA, all of the community and its residents. We want to have a lot more public engagement and a lot more involvement in creating an accessibility plan that's in the best interest of the community and everybody in it.
Okay, it's good. Excellent.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 9, a request to approve travel to FCM conference in Calgary. Be it resolved that 2 staff members attend the annual Federation of Canadian Municipalities annual convention in Calgary, June the 6th to the 9th, 2024. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Deputy Mayor
Yep,
Susan
yep.
Fallow. Question?
Question. In my humble little opinion, I don't see the direct benefit to staff or council for a trip up to Calgary. We are a member of FCM. We get all the documentation from them on any programs or anything new coming up. I was never in favor when I was on council here 12 years ago, and still not in favor. Mine never changed. And also, in light, we should show at all times restraint on our expenditures. As you know, we're into a debt reduction plan over the next 3 years. And to offset that reduction plan, we increased the business tax to the tune of almost $68,000 extra taxes collected. So I think this is one time we should show example that we're going to show restraint and give back some of this money. That's all I got to say.
Mayor Susan Fallow. Thank you, Councilor Roberts.
I would respectfully disagree with Councillor Roberts. I think that professional development is a critical part of the development of a culture within any organization, and providing opportunities for staff to have professional development opportunities, to travel, to meet other people face to face who are doing things a little differently. A lot of times the conversations in the workshops are critical. The ones outside the workshops are even more critical, and that's where so many connections are made. I think at a time when we have staff and council putting so much work into trying to create the best possible culture of work here, we need to find opportunities to reward that as well. And we can't always give everyone a raise every time we see that they're doing good work, but we can certainly provide opportunities for our staff to see different things, learn different things, and come back really refreshed and so on. So I'm completely in support of people attending the conference.
Any other comments from any other councilors?
Of the bill on what Councillor Roberts said to me, we are members of the SEM, so I mean, any programs, information, and all that stuff, I mean, we get it anyway, and it's only a phone call away. At the same time, I mean, I believe in sending staff to, and sometimes council members to different things for team building, information purposes, and be able to grow in their field. In that regard, municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Convention has most of the information from the FCM that down fed to it. So you mean we could certainly partake in that much closer to home at a much more reasonable cost. So you mean I wouldn't be able to support going to the FCM because of the cost of it.
Any
Well,
comments? Councilor.
I would agree with Councillor Fowler, because I've been to many of them over the years. And if everybody felt like that around the municipalities in the province,
Maybe not.
you know, and they do play a role. But not only that, when you get to go around to all the booths and everything, you meet people. And sometimes it's people that can help your community by giving you, you know, certain information and things like that. So, and I agree that the staff should be given a chance to go. And we don't spend a lot in our travel budget anyway. So I certainly would support it.
And we did have a budget for travel. And so we have to be very selective over how we're going to spend it. We don't want to go over our budget for travel. So I guess for me, it's based on the best, I guess that's best, you know,
Bang for your buck.
yeah, that's the bit I was going to say. Your bang for your. So that would be my feeling onto this. So I guess based on the cost, I won't say yes or no until I actually put my vote to the table.
CAO, Mr. Bill Ramsey.
Okay, so as we're making changes and trying to make improvements for the benefit of our staff, and a trip to Calgary for anyone that town is going to pay for, it's not a junket. It's a lot of work. It's travel that's, you know, 7 or 8 hour plane in planes, hotel, and then meetings and seminars and these sorts of things. So there are learning opportunities, 3 or 4 or more when I looked at the agenda, as well as that interaction with others from other municipalities in Canada. Understanding, yes, we do have a budget deficit we're trying to deal with. This is within the travel budget that we have allocated. It's important to build relationships. Like we would designate 2 specific staff members who we thought could potentially benefit from this interaction over there. It wasn't just automatically to say we're going. We'll take council's decision on whether we should go or not. And of course, but I do think it's valuable, and it's valuable for the staff members who would travel. So I just wanted to make that point, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I am concerned about the expenses. However, we have new staff. And I think it's important as well that they get to meet other people who do things a bit differently and get some ideas. Especially now we're growing, and we've filled our staff up to, I think, where we are. So in light of that, I'm in favor of this.
I'll turn over the gavel to Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler. I just have to speak. Oh, sorry. Okay, I just want to thank all council for their feedback. A couple of things I want to speak on is, I guess the first thing for Councilor Garen Robertson, we're still waiting for the first quarterly variance reports and reports from the Finance Committee. But our deficit reduction strategy that we put in place, approved by municipal affairs, was deliberate on my part, because we had some additional money in healthcare with recruitment and retention. We had unforeseen cost to the airport, took a little longer for it to privatize. And we clearly unanimously as a council made that decision. But in the last couple of public meetings, we just sold a piece of land for roughly $500,000 to a developer for a new medical clinic. That wasn't in our budget for this year. Just in the terms of that receiving of those checks will be completed by the end of this fiscal year. Just that sole asset divestiture will clear our deficit. And we also are in the negotiations for the sale of a $10 million facility that on signing, and we are told that it could take up to 90 days, that we will receive $1 million at the day of signing with a additional $9 million with a 7% interest rate. So fiscally, we're in good shape. We know that we didn't do any increases to property tax on residents this year. We did a 0.2 mill rate on businesses. So if a business was valued with the initial assessment agency at $300,000, that would have been a $60 extra to the cost of that business, not an insurmountable amount. But I will just speak on the importance of staff and echoing what Councilor Maurice signed. We have a lot of new staff now, and they're new to this game of municipal infrastructure and governance and FCMs and MNL conferences, and they're critical. It is said that companies that invest in their staff for training, and I look at this as training. This is going up to an FCM to take training, seminars, learn how to bring back capital into our town with different programs. And it is said for every dollar you spend in training a staff member, you can get upwards to 40% return. And that's so important. So on that note, I'm going to bring back the gavel. Thank you, everybody, for your commentary, and I will.
Can I have a reply?
Yeah.
Seems like all commentary is geared towards me. I'd like to rebut a little bit. I never said I was against staff training or council training. I highly believe in training, and you will see that throughout my term here. So I'm very supportive of any of that.
Good.
Okay. Secondly, regarding to the business tax, they're paying more than an average of $60 because the mill rates were changed on a lot of companies.
Yes.
Okay. For example, professional offices went from 20 mils to 5 mils. That's more than $60. Construction companies, automotive sales, concrete plants, doctors' offices, mail order companies. All these guys had their mill rate changed. So it's more than $60 to them.
Yeah.
I just want to
Anybody
clarify
had a mill rate adjustment? Yes.
Okay.
Plus the assessments went up.
Yeah. Clarify that.
And just one other thing I just want to say, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business had presented to us a couple of years back and said that Stephenville was held as a community that had a very thin margin between residential property tax and business tax. We only had a 1 mil difference, and we applauded that we didn't charge too much for business tax. So that's the CFIB. That was a statement they made.
Yeah, but in addition to that, I mean, we're hoping more money's going to come in. I'll correct the $500,000 number for the clinic. It's $441,000. By the time the lawyers are finished, it's going to be less than that. And yes, hopefully the money's going to come from the industrial facility. However, I look at the other side. When you get the dollar, how is it best spent? And I mean, and again, we are members of SCM. We get all the information. They got student training programs undergoing that, and training staff is good. I think if we're going to spend money, it would be better spent with the province, municipal affairs, that puts off the professional municipal administrators, the courses, rather than going to Calgary.
That's the PMA courses, I believe, is only clerks and managers. Get that course. Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler.
This will keep going around again, but I just want to add to what I said as well, that we certainly do get emails and information from FCN, but we get it from their executive office. We don't get all the information that you get as you make your way around and meet different people at different exhibition booths and have some discussion. We brought back, I went in the first year of this term with a number of councillors, and we brought back a number of things which we have actually implemented as part of the town process. And some of that as well was based on the fact that the original group in this term and the group, I guess before that, but we made a decision that this council was not about status quo, it was about risks and growth. And I think we made some good decisions about growth, and we're seeing the end result of that. I think status quo is a wonderful thing if we want to age out the people we have here and do nothing else. But if we don't provide opportunities for our people to get the best possible professional development, and I would argue council as well as staff, and that means sending people to the FCM, sending them to the MNL stuff, sending them to every opportunity to train people. We're about to engage in a process now where big business is coming in, and they're going to be looking to our staff for guidance and also trying to poach them. And so I think it's really important that we have our people trained. And, you know, people talk about a trip to Calgary. Yes, if you get the benefit of traveling and seeing something else in the world, that's never a bad thing. But this is not, boys, we're choosing two people to send them on a flight. This is, we're asking them to come back, bring back information, and so on. And that is going to be the difference between a town that stays status quo and a town that sees growth.
So one last comment from Councillor Maurice Hines, and then I'll call for the vote.
Last one, it's not a little bit off the topic. I really like going through the newspaper the other day, and we looked at all of the taxes where it was broke down and so on. And I think that was really good. And I want to commend Mary Lee. I think you took care of that. And I think all the citizens, I think everyone got one, and they were able to see the difference in the breakdowns. I think it's a step forward.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. We had discussion, debate, call for vote. All in favor for 2 staff members to travel to Calgary?
Aye.
So we, contramine. So stated, Councillor O'Brien and Councillor Roberts voted in contramine. Okay, motion carried. Okay, Councillor White.
Oh, it went on so long, I forgot where we were.
Number 10.
Item number 10, request of new chairs for the chamber. Be it resolved to approve the purchase of 4 new chairs for the chamber to be used by staff at a cost of $2,571.40. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Councillor Darren Roberts. I'd just like to say that question.
Yeah, are these 4 new chairs for in here in chambers?
Here.
Town hall, okay,
And staff and council, I guess, really, it's 4 additional chairs.
so we have enough, you're saying, or we don't, yeah, so we don't have enough, okay, that's understandable. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so just for clarity too, we've been briefed by management that now that we have additional staff, we needed additional chairs for the additional staff and then free up because we were using the chairs for the gallery. And we've been getting a pretty big delegation visiting us lately. The last ones with World Energy, their dignitaries. So a couple of extra chairs was recommended. So all in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Item 11.
Sorry, I was looking at my notes here. Seems like my brother is the chairperson of this committee.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming I'm in conflict.
No.
He's the chair of the committee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's no money going to it.
No money.
No, they're looking for.
Yeah, but that's going to the committee.
This would be a standard agreement in place.
This is.
This is not extra. So,
I just don't think,
Under the present conflict guidelines, I don't think you would be.
No, I don't.
Under you might be getting confused with some of the during our training. They said when the new legislation comes out, the conflict is going to be expanded. So you mean I don't think you would be.
Like, do you stand to benefit financially? No.
Just as,
Even
if it gives me a discount on
I suppose, yeah.
just, I sit on the committee as well. So,
yeah, because this is a standard grant request based on an agreement that's in place with municipalities for the interfaith cemetery, it's based on a value per household, that this is not anything extraordinary. I can't see it, but if you don't feel you still have the right to step away from the table, Council.
I'll also have a right, if I would feel comfortable if council will make a vote onto it, if I'm in conflict.
So I would ask a raise of hands do anybody feel you're on the committee?
yes, I am.
As an executive?
Yes, I'm the executive.
So I will ask outside of Councillor Roberts and Hines, the other councillors, do you believe that they're in a conflict?
I'd make the motion that the Councillor Roberts and Councillor Hines are not in conflicts. Not in conflict.
Second Deputy Mayor Susan Fowle? All in favor?
Aye. If this was additional funds to
Yeah.
what they normally get.
Okay, so I'm gonna head back. Nice to stretch your legs though.
Under
At our age, you gotta do that sometimes, Darren.
under the new legislation apparently coming out.
Yes, coming out.
Comes out, they would be.
Yeah, but under the current.
Current.
Still subject to.
Okay, Councillor White.
Okay,
Excuse me, carry that motion.
Carrie?
Carry.
We can vote.
Got a motion on the table.
Big regime?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That can. We already voted. We all voted.
All voted?
Yeah.
Carrie?
Yeah.
Harry,
Okay.
That was carried with 4 members.
The Calgary trip, you said the motion copy.
Oh,
I do with what?
Yeah.
I'll get that out of my
We
vocabulary.
can do that back in.
Yeah.
As well.
Carries, yeah.
Yeah, it got carried by 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Councillor Roberts and Hines didn't take part of it.
Okay.
So now we vote on the actual.
so we're gonna go and read the actual.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 11, a request for grant Hillside Interfaith Cemetery. Be it resolved that approval to be given to provide the annual contribution in the amount of $15,800 to the Hillside Interfaith Cemetery Committee. I so move.
Move by Councillor Myra White, second.
Second?
Second, Councillor Laurie Elbert, all in favor?
Aye.
Carrie. Okay, number 9? We have to
That's
redo
the
that.
chair.
We do just where you said motion.
Okay, yeah, so can you redo number 9?
Sure.
Councillor White.
Don't you got.
Okay, 3 strikes, you're out. Request to approve travel to FCM conference in Calgary. Be it resolved that 2 staff members attend the annual Federation of Canadian Municipalities Annual Conference in Calgary, June the 6th to the 9th, 2024. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, second.
Second?
Second, Councillor Laurie Elbert, all in favor?
Aye.
Contramine?
All right.
No, carried with 2 contramine, Councillor O'Brien and Councillor Roberts. Okay.
Item number 12, request to approve travel to MNL Symposium in Gander. Be it resolved to approve travel for Mayor Tom Rose to attend the municipality's Newfoundland and Labrador Symposium in Gander, May the 2nd to the 4th, 2024. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Darren Roberts.
What's the symposium on who?
They have a whole list of 3 days of everything from, like, we had to submit, what are 3 priorities of council? What are, some of the things?
Like they do it twice a year now, a conference
Yeah.
and a symposium.
They do the big one annually, but they do a biannual one, so.
I think on that one, part of that was the conflict, code of conduct. On that one there was a list of items on there.
Tipping fees and costs in municipalities, and there's different regions in the province that, like, we pay more than other regions. And that's, so there's all the topics that are concerning the municipalities.
We paid so much, they gave us $10,000 refund here.
And also the UCM, which is the urban municipalities, UMC stuff. They used to meet 4 times a year in different locations, but now they're meeting twice a year in different locations. And the other 2 times they meet one at the symposium, one at the conference. And I'm on that, but I'm not here at that time. So hopefully the mayor will attend those meetings as well.
The reason why I'm asking that is, this is approval for the mayor to travel to it. All the discussion that we've just had around the table about staff trainings, should have staff not attended as well?
Yeah.
I think when it's in Gander, next year is in Quantico. Yeah, we need as many people as we can get to go.
And there would be staff going. Normally, that's already budgeted for, and it's a normal part of our regular expenditure. So it wasn't something that we had to come back and it is. I think we thought it would be two staff members as well. And it's just normal course of our operation that the staff normally would attend that. So
Well, that's like PMA training. That don't come back to the table. That's part of our internal budget stuff.
So as you indicated, that is going to happen.
Okay.
So we have a motion, we have a seconder, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 13 is award of a tender, spring cleanup. Be it resolved that the town of Stephenville award the tender for spring cleanup to Boyd and Bungay Construction Limited in the amount of $179 plus HST per container load. I so move.
Moved by Council Myra White, seconder.
Second,
Second, Council Tom O'Brien, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
just to drive the cost of spring cleanup, home group further, this is $179 for that actual container, and it's full and it'll be transported to the Western Regional site, and then
Paid for.
the per tonnage cost of dropping it off is also borne by the town. Right?
Mr. Mayor, I owe everybody an apology. I didn't realize I'm announcing my age. Boyd and Bungay is a client of my employer. That puts me in conflict,
Are you, you're being public there?
definitely.
Okay, so we would.
So you can vote to rescind as a group that voted. I don't think you vote to rescind now, then they can recall the motion.
Okay, so.
If you already voted on something, you have, there's a vote to rescind, you put that motion to rescind the prior approval, and then we can redo it with Counselor outside of the table.
So we would ask for our finance chair to rescind the motion for item number 13. So I'll just get you to state that you're going to rescind the motion identified for item number 14.
13.
Sorry, 13.
Okay, I'm going to rescind the award of the tender spring cleanup, item number 13, in the amount of $179 plus HST per container load. I so move.
Moved by Council Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Deputy Mayor STEPHENVILLE, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion rescinded.
Now,
Not motion.
so
Not
the
motion.
council your Counselor Roberts has left the table.
Just carried. Just carried.
Just carried. Okay, noted, Todd. Okay, so we would ask Council Myra White to restate the motion.
Okay, award of tender spring cleanup. Be Be it resolved that the town of Stephenville award the tender for spring cleanup to Boyd and Bongi Construction Limited in the amount of $179 plus HST per container load. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder. Second, Councilor Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Carried. Okay, Councilor Roberts, you return to the table.
Affirmative, table at 151,
151.
12:50.
whatever you. These robots, not money.
Okay, Councilor White.
Let's move. Item number 14, award of the tender 4x4 crew cab pickup with commercial cap. Be it resolved that the town of Stephenville award the tender for the 4x4 crew cab pickup truck with commercial cap to Hickman Motors of St. John in the amount of $62,439 plus HST. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White. Second, Councilor O'Brien. All in favor? Carried.
Item 15, Eco Next membership. Be it resolved to purchase a 1-year membership to Eco Next at a cost of $850 plus tax per year. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts, question.
Question? I'll take page out of Councillor Roberts' book now. I had a look at the website for EcoNext, and while I applaud them on the work that they do, they're a nonprofit business. They're looking at trying to accelerate clean growth in Newfoundland and Labrador. And while I'm sure $850 in the scheme of things with our budget is not a big amount, I'm not seeing a whole lot of benefit to us directly as a town to be part of this organization. The only benefit I really see is for us to be able to say we are part of an organization that looks at good eco practices. So as a result of that, I'm going to vote against it, but that's my reason.
Any other question?
We went through in finance and basically, what's the pros and cons of being a member? I mean, this is a fairly new organization. There is some good stuff there, and again, some discussion around the FCEM and the municipalities Newfoundland and PMA and all that stuff. Although we try to control the cost sometimes, there's some things we feel that we should take part in. Where this is a new organization, we basically said, well, let's try for this time around to see what benefits it could bring to the table. So, I mean, sometimes when the new organizations getting up and starting, I mean, they're evolving. So I appreciate your concerns regarding what they have there now on their website. I'm sure over the next year, as more members grow, that will be expanded on. So, and that's why the recommendation came forward from finance in that regard. You agree, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Okay. There's no other comment.
No, just that I've, when you had taken a quick look at it, and it refers a bit to what we're doing here with the hydrogen. But, as Councillor Deputy Mayor had said, it's not grassroots stuff. Maybe right now it's big picture stuff, but for $850, it's probably not bad to see what happens. Okay, and see where they go.
I mean, if it doesn't evolve into what we think it's going to evolve into, well, I mean, we just don't renew next year.
So if I could just speak, I'll turn over the gavel to Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler. I just had the opportunity last year that while I was in for the provincial M&L conference, EcoNext they have an annual conference too. And I actually got an opportunity to sit in when CEO Sean Lee was speaking on the project for Stephenville. So at that conference, by the CEO of EcoNex, it referenced that they had purchased carbon credits from the town of Stephenville to offset their carbon footprint for the conference, the energy that they use. So we derive carbon dollars for our carbon from our effluent facility. But the big thing is the players that go to this and the networking. So if we tried it for a year and we sent either a staff member or a member of council to their annual, and it's usually in St. John's, then you'll get the fee. Is there enough derived benefits? And I guess we're going to try it for a year. So if there's no other comments, I'll take back to the gavel. We have a motion and a seconder.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried 6, Conchline. Conchline, Deputy Mayor Susan Bella. Great commentary, good discussion.
And that is the last
That's it.
item unless there's anything late.
No, nothing late?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll turn it over to our Chair of Planning and Traffic, Councilor Laura Aylward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Planning and Traffic Committee met on April 23rd, 2024, and the following items were recommended for council approval. Be it resolved to approve the following permits pending further inspection, including fire and service NL approval. What is it? Inspection, including fire and service NL approval.
Okay.
All of which have met the necessary guidelines as per Development Regulation 51. I so move.
Okay, so the first component, but would you read out the bullets also?
Yes, I will. Yeah.
Just for the clarity before I.
Yeah. 13 Tennessee Drive Business Occupancy Permit due to change of name. 151-32738, Canada Incorporated, doing business as Stephenville Diamond International Airport. 68 New Mexico Drive, DWS Mobile Welding Home Business, occupancy permit, and also a development permit. 4 Aspen Lane, Colebrook, business occupancy permit to operate a dog boarding, dog training, and dog daycare. Roadside permit, Dory Dan, plans to operate on designated town property on the ramp between May 2024 and September 2024, selling arts and crafts, tools, and hunting and camping knives. 201 Carolina Avenue, on grade construction, general permit to relocate water line to west of building. And I so move. That's all.
Moved by Councilor Laura Aylward, seconder.
Second?
Second, Councilor Maurice Hines, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Mr. Mayor, if we're just going to say that, but when we had our planning meeting for everyone who's listening, we actually had staff here and we went through, and all of these were confirmed with the regulations and any policies were questioned and clarified.
Just like to add, there was a recommendation from Councilor Roberts at our last meeting that when we approve permits through the Urban Planning Act and our own municipal regulations, that the regulation be cited for, and that's done today. So I really like this format. It's nice and clean and accurate, and it's got that fiduciary responsibility. So I want to thank Councilor Roberts, and great point, Councilor Hines. So did we do all? Yeah, we carried it. Yeah, okay, I'm with that. Normally, just for a council perspective, and sometimes we just lose sight of the rules of procedure, but normally the discussion, the debate, the question comes right after the seconder. And normally we try not to comment after it's carried. And we're all a little bit guilty of that sometimes.
And usually the term question is for debate, right?
Yes.
Question.
Yeah.
And when you say question, if it's interrupted by debate, and then of course, calling the question is the second and the next step.
Yeah.
So calling the question is the call for the vote.
Yeah, there's normally once question is called, the vote is supposed to happen then.
Yes.
No discussion after.
So when you say it, once you're interrupted, they, and then calling the question for vote.
Do Laura have a copy of this? Reading it?
Should,
What is it?
should be.
Read it. No.
Copy of what?
Do you have, item B in 7.2?
Copy?
Question with that policy and the town hall.
From the other day?
Yeah, from the other, I think it was top there.
Yeah, the other day, yeah. I don't have it with me right now.
We don't need to read that. Okay.
Well, maybe we do, but I don't,
Well, if you do, I have it right
I
here.
don't think.
Okay, then. Okay, the last item on planning and traffic is request to adopt policy on visitors to town hall. Be it resolved that attached policy be adopted by council. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Lori Edwards, second.
Second.
Second with Councilor White.
I think we should read it all out for what we're.
I think it's a good point if we could read it into the motion, because once this policy, if it gets adopted here today, it then goes on our website. and
Read it.
communicated.
Yeah.
Read it.
Right?
Yeah.
Like me to read it? Okay, yeah.
Or do you have, can we have our communications director read
Yeah.
it? Would that be appropriate?
Or Candace got it there.
Okay. Motion to require scheduled appointments for discussions between counselors, local business associates, partners, and town staff. Whereas the efficient operation of town staff is crucial to maintaining the functionality and service delivery of the town of Stephenville. Whereas unplanned meetings can disrupt the workflow and priorities of town staff, thereby impacting their ability to effectively manage their responsibilities. Whereas the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs Act mandates structured and efficient communication protocols within municipal operations in relation to the following. Counselor to municipal staff, understand staff roles and responsibilities, do not interfere with the day-to-day administration, listen to staff's advice when recognizing your duty to make up your own mind on issues, and understand staff's authority. Be it resolved that counselors, local business associates, and partners wishing to engage in discussions with town staff of Stephenville schedule an appointment in advance. Point 2, that such appointments include a specified time and date agreed upon by both parties, a clear statement regarding the nature of the request or discussion topic to ensure that the staff member can adequately prepare for the meeting. Point 3, that this procedure is implemented to allocate sufficient time for each matter to be discussed thoroughly and professionally, prevent interference with the ongoing priorities and duties of town staff, and enhance the overall effectiveness and efficiency of municipal operations.
Okay, thank you very much from our
Okay,
communications
that's the,
director.
yeah, that's the policy.
So we have a motion, a seconder, any other comment, Councilor Roberts?
I do have a little bit of concern. It makes it a little bit more red tape and cumbersome, or in my view, and what I think I should be doing regarding dealing with information you get from the staff. Our job here as counselors is to oversee the direction of the town, and to do that, I need information, and information outside of finance or planning or whatever. And it was evidence here tonight when I talk about the mill rate, change mill rates or whatever. That's information I obtain myself. So I'm going to get Fridays. I think we're going to get our agendas for finance, whatever. So a lot of these information to help me make up my mind before the meeting, because we should be prepared. We're going to our meetings. don't want to waste anyone's time. Oh, I can't contact me Saturday or Sunday. Then you're telling me I got to contact our chief officer over there to make an appointment, which could be 2 weeks down the road. So I can't deal with my issue on that's or anything that came from planning. And to be honest with you, the other day when I left the building, after we discussed this around, I know what you're trying to do. 2 staff stopped me and asked me something. And I kind of looked over my shoulder. Should I be talking to them now? Right?
Okay.
I think we're getting, I believe in policies and procedures. I think we're getting too formal. We're only a small town. And to help me do my job, I need information. And the information is important when zoning is timely.
Deputy Mayor Susan Bell.
I think it's critical to have some kind of process, and policy should never supersede common sense, I guess, in terms of good leadership. So because there's a policy in place for the bigger picture, that does not mean, I think, that we can't, turn our head and answer a question or ask someone a question. I think this is more about in the day-to-day operations of the town, how do we keep things so that I don't choose, for example, as a counselor to say, geez, I got no school today. I'm going to go and pop in now for an hour and see what's on the go. And I could pop in for an hour and I could ask CAO a few questions, and then I could pop into someone else's office and ask them a few questions. And so, what you're saying is that it's a little bit too strict because of the way that you operate. But I've seen others who don't operate that way who may perhaps need some guidelines. And for the most part, you're going to get to a point where you'll have the information you need to do the work you do, but you need to make the requests through email and say, I'd like to have this information. And I think if you're in here for a meeting and you suddenly don't have it, you can make that request. I mean, I don't think it needs to be, can you set me up a meeting in 2 weeks? But I think it needs to be not a verbal request to someone when they're going out, I need this, but an email that says, can I have the following information? Or can that information come to the committee on which I work, right? And if you need more information, I don't think this is going to be, I don't think we're so busy that a meeting is going to be, when we request a meeting with someone, they're going to say, okay, in 3 weeks, come in for it. I think it will be a matter of a day or so, but it'll be a more structured process.
But if you got to explain that based on this here, some of this should be reworded to reflect the needs of counselors also.
Okay, Councilor.
If I may, first of all, I sent something off to everybody last week. I guess most people got a chance to take a look at it. And Candace, thank you for your answer. And your answer was very good, very common sense. I understand it. I'm concerned with what we call mission creep. It starts off here and then it starts morphing into something else. And maybe the appointments, like so very often, as we talked about earlier with the CAO, somebody gives you a phone call. And I don't think I'm a person that comes running in, going to people's office and so on. But they need an answer. And it may not be the most important thing, but it's probably the most important thing to them. So yes, I could go in and ask the CAO or the deputy, and they go, well, give me a chance to look it up. Okay. And I can understand all that. But if I'm going to say, listen, I can't meet with you for 2 days. No, I'm really booked. Then all of a sudden, I've got to tell that person, listen, I'm going to be 3 or 4 days before I get it. As Councillor Roberts is saying, I feel the same way. I understand it. I really do. But I think it's common sense on our part that we don't rush in and go down to someone's office and say, listen, I need this right now. That's not the part of the procedure either. And that's my only concern right now. And how do we know if this is working one way or the other? Do we try it for 6 months? And it's we got a backlog of people who are saying I can't get to see anyone. I don't know. There needs to be some process for either evaluation. And I went online last night. It shows like I don't have a life to Grand Falls, to Gander, Clarenville, and so on. and trying to type in policies for appointment, procedure, and I couldn't find any. So I don't know if they have it and it's hidden somewhere else, but I understand the idea behind it. With the, and I know a lot of work went into it. I'm not going to deny that. I'm a little concerned over some of the wording where, for businesses and so on. Do they feel not comfortable coming in that, no, I'm not, I've got to make an appointment? And somebody from the downtown business said, you know, I really need to talk to somebody now. I think it's going to help that we're going to have someone at the front desk. But right now, I don't have that comfort feeling that I can give it 100 my support. If it goes through, I will support it 100%. But right now, I don't feel that way.
Again, I think the policy for people who operate under the guidelines of the Municipal Act and the Municipal Handbook, which states very clearly, for example, that councillors are not to be involved in the business of operations, right?
Yeah.
I've seen in 6 years many examples of somebody doing exactly that. And I think then we put, and this is not just about councillors, but I think then we put staff in a very untenable situation because they're trying to get their work done, but they feel like, oh, a councillor, I better try to deal with them, right? In the same way that if someone calls me and says, I'm really upset because my neighbor's garbage keeps getting picked through by the seagulls and now it's all on my lawn. What are you going to do about it? I can say to that person, I will pass that information along, but I don't think anyone should have an expectation that we're going to deal with every issue when we get a phone call just like that, right? Because that's not the role of the town. It's about bringing that information forward and then having that information move. I think what we need to do is recognize that there's a role for the leadership of this organization, which is the CAO, the deputy CAO, to play in how policies are effective. But in the absence of policy, we have nothing but the potential for everyone and their mother to do what they want to do. And then people are having to interpret accordingly. So I think as a way of protecting our own staff from opportunities where they got to give up doing one particular piece of work to move into another, I don't think necessarily this council is going to do anything that slows it down, but how do we know the next one doesn't? How did we stop the one before? It's
Can I?
Yeah, Myra.
I think this town is going to grow and it's going to grow fast. And I really think that we should be prepared and we have to have organization to go along with that. Because if we don't have things into place when it just booms, we're going to be all scattered. We need to have policy, procedures, and things, not to say that you can't divert from them. However, we're supposed to be, your leadership here should be something that takes us to the future and be prepared. So we should have things in place that when this starts moving, we're going to pat ourselves on the back and say, good, look, we did this. Now we can make sure that this is fully implemented. This is going to be baby steps up to the time it actually gets to where we want it to be. And I think leadership makes people feel better. We got things written down to give to people to say, you know, this is how it goes. And I think this is going to make this greater for our town, easier for future councillors to come in and pick up the book and say, we follow the same. If there's something there that needs to be changed, we'll change it. That's my piece on it.
Councilor Neward.
Well, I agree with what Darren's, Councillor Roberts said and some of the things that he said. And I agree with some of Susan's. But I feel that the policy should be brought back to the table and discussed more fully, because I don't agree with some of the things that are in the policy. And I feel sometimes like, after being here all these years and the rules and regulations that we followed, you know, most all the time, and then I know you can change them, but the thing is that I feel now that I'm a prisoner in my own body, that I can't. Oh, well, should I talk to Candace today now about that? Or should I talk to somebody else about that? I think that's a little bit too far, because I can see if there's somebody going in the offices and spending, half an hour, 20 minutes talking away to somebody, bullshitting, we'll say, pardon my language. But just to go along, if you want to go along and say, well, hi, Lori, how's everything going today? Did you get my tax form? Stuff like that. And I think that's limiting us too much. And I think that it really should be looked
I don't
at.
see that as a big breach policy. Stick your head in and say, hello, how are you doing today? But anyway, that's,
That's,
I'm trying to stay quiet.
Yeah.
I think that's policy to design that you can't say, oh, somebody,
well,
ask for your, tax certificate that you haven't filled out. So,
Yeah.
Candace, do you want to,
Councilor O'Brien can speak.
you want to speak?
Yes, but, I mean, I think the policy is too rigid. It restricts, especially members of council in doing what they're elected to do. I mean, since the town was incorporated in 1952 until the present date, I mean, members of council were more than welcome to come in the town hall and go see the appropriate staff that they knew was responsible for something and ask, do you have a few minutes, and ask the particular question and get their answer. You have residents and businesses asking you to check stuff out for them. Now you got this cumbersome thing to go around. I think Councilor Elwood put it in good terms. She feels she's a prisoner in her own body. I mean, I think with this policy, the way it is here, and I said it to our manager and assistant manager, CEO, service manager, anyway, I mean, with this kind of stuff, town hall is not as friendly as what town hall used to be. And it's the bottom line.
No, but if you read what we're supposed, and just to say that I've had conversations with people in other municipalities about this very thing. And one of the reasons some of them don't have a policy or protocol is because they don't deal with the issues that we dealt with for the last couple of years and continue to deal with. And they're very clear. And at MNL, they said it very clear. Council, stay out of the business of the town. Our job is to drive the policy and the governance. So if we did it differently for all those years, does that mean it was right? But as we move to change something, so if I'm the one who's coming in every day and everybody in Stephenville's contacting me, Susan, check that out. So I run up and check that out, and then I bring that back and say, oh yeah, we're going to do that. Okay, oh, I got to check that out. So I'm up to Public Works. Say, I'll check that out for you. They're going to do that. Now Candace and Bill talk to someone and they go, thanks for doing that. And they say, doing what? They don't know what's going on. Public Works who say, why didn't you get that done? Well, because Councilor Aylward called and asked me to get those branches out of the way, so we sent the boys down there. So while I'm not disagreeing with any of you that we need to feel comfortable to ask the questions, but there's nothing wrong with having a line of questioning. There's nothing wrong with, because there were a number of people here at the time when everyone was upset that it was, the environment wasn't great and all that stuff. A lot of that, I would contend, is based on the fact that everybody was giving directions to staff. And that is not our role. It's, if you want to look at the act and look at the role of council, it's not our role. We do not do the work of the town.
And we've been crystal clear in that it's not council's role to direct staff to do anything.
Right.
I mean, but to come in to ask staff a question on how something's progressing along, that's looking for information. That's not.
But why
that's not giving directions.
CAO? Like, what is your issue with going to the CAO and asking the question?
And he redirects to the department head.
He should know the answer. He's connected and she's connected with all the departments. We're trying to get departments to follow a flow, right? And to report in and they're having staff meetings and all that. Everyone's up to date. The person who knows all the things or who to go to for the answers is the CAO. That is our point of contact.
So I'll turn it over to our deputy CEO.
But just to expand on that there, that when it comes to an engineering issue, I present one question to our CAO. He goes to the engineering department and gets a response to that one. He comes back. And a lot of times you ask one question, then the answer generates 3 or 4
Right,
more
but he
questions.
might say,
So now you're
Tom,
going back true.
I'm going to ask so-and-so to contact you on that because I'm not sure, you know, or you may have other questions, right?
I just think it's too restrictive.
So I'll turn it over to our deputy CEO, who's put a fair amount of work into this policy, along with our CAO, and with recommendations of staff.
Thank you. Just to respond, I guess, to the example that you're bringing up there, Councilor O'Brien, in the example of going down to the engineer's office and asking a question, and then another one might come up and another one. Well, what if that engineer is now working on a project that has a deadline, that he's under a time restraint and that he needs to work on that, so that popping by his office and then asking him that question takes him out of that, of the thing that he needs to do. And that happens. The other thing I just want to.
But in that regard, you mean the employee, and you mean I've had it said to me, my employees before. You mean I got 5 minutes. I need to get this done. So if we covered it in 5 minutes, we covered it. If not, they went back to doing what they needed to do and came back.
Yes, and if it's the mayor or the deputy mayor, then they feel like they got to do it, then.
Right, or anyone, they feel that at that point compelled to do that. And then in response also to you, Councillor Roberts, when you say, you know, you don't have to go to the CAO to request. That's not in the policy at all. You can go to anybody or myself, or you come to the administrative assistant, ask the question, call in. Customer service is always going to be like the top priority here. The policy is not put in place to discourage interactions with town office. It's actually meant to do the opposite of that. It's meant to be. I'll actually read my reply to Councillor Maurice Hines this morning when he kind of came to me with these exact concerns. And this is clear. This will give everybody, I guess, that answer to the concerns you're raising. And if you still have concerns, then we'll follow through. But so I want to ensure you that this policy isn't about discouraging engagement with town hall, public engagement. It's really quite the opposite. We want to make sure that everyone can still come by in person when they need immediate help. Our front desk staff, especially our administrative assistant, will be there to listen and assist. If something needs a bit more attention, then they're ready to bring in other staff or management to help right away. And of course, in emergencies, we're always going to act promptly and make those our top priority. Providing friendly and efficient customer service is something we're committed to and will keep focusing on. The main aim of the policy is just to keep day-to-day disruptions to a minimum so that our staff can stay focused on their responsibilities. We're trying to avoid the kind of unexpected visits that can throw off an entire day's schedule. This can make it hard for our team to meet other important deadlines and commitments. Sometimes staff receive requests that require some preparation to address it properly. This policy will ensure they have the necessary time to prepare and respond effectively. We hope the policy will be seen as a courteous way to manage our time better, not as something harsh or unwelcoming. We're also fully committed to keeping the council feeling welcomed and comfortable here. It's important to us that everybody feels they can still engage with us effectively within this new framework.
If I may. Okay.
You go first.
Okay. Yeah, Council, you gave a great answer. I thought it was good. Your answer is what I wanted. But when I read the policy, it doesn't look the same. Okay. Your answer was perfect. Okay. And it made me feel good about it. But the policy and what you said don't overlap. Okay. I know the policy has to be interpreted, but when we talked about making appointments and talking about some of those other things, that wasn't here. Your answer, I think, was great. I think that should be the policy. Okay. And you understand what I'm saying. And that's all I think. I think that it needs to be looked at a bit differently, and everything you said is I think is good. And I think, Councillor O'Brien, Councillor Robertson, and, Councillor Everett would agree with that. But when we read the policy, it seems to be, I'm going to use the word, this seems warm and fuzzy and nice. The policy seems to be cold.
Policies are not warm and fuzzy though. They're
You
black
can't,
and
can't
white.
give them a hug, right?
Yeah, they're black and white.
But no, and that's my feeling, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to elaborate a bit. So Candace, assisted us all by drafting this because we have an issue. And the issue is appropriate administration for the benefit of the people of Stephen. How do we do this best? How do we perform best service for the residents, for the councillors who represent the residents, and how do we do it for efficient administration of the office? I know that sometimes the day-to-day interruptions of all of our staff prevent us from getting our work done on a timely basis, which is demanded not only by the council, but also by the people in the community. And an interruption generally, they say, costs 12 minutes. Even just a quick interruption to the daily work is a 12-minute cost of time to get it back. That's just a simple statistic. The common sense provision that's been mentioned here is also very important. The common sense piece is I'll always respond when someone is at the front of the office area who has a complaint. If they're an irate resident, they have an issue, they can call my phone number in my office, I answer it. All of those things are immediate responses to urgent circumstances for councillors or the general public or business people who are coming to deal with the town of Steeple. So we want to be clear that that's what we're trying to accomplish, is quality of service. And also to get our work done. So there's a balance there. Policy is cold, dry, and not warm and fuzzy, as we know. And but we'll give life to those policies, which is put the life into it, and the living, breathing element of it, which is the quality of someone coming in some days because of a water issue that has stained clothes. And I've got a bag of that in my office. And I know if the person's listening, I appreciated that person coming and informing me. And I learned something from it. Hopefully they went away a bit more content than they did when they came in, because these are issues that are very important to the people who come here. To our councillors, we want to do a good job for all of you as the residents' representatives. And it's a little different from, we've all had the change when we go to a government office, let's say federal or provincial, and it's barred down tight. We know that. And to get in, you almost, need to have a pre-appointment. If they don't know you're coming, you're not getting in. Here, it's a little different from that. If you ask to see us, someone will see you, and we'd like to have an appointment. And that's what this policy does. It tries to make that a bit more formal. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so great discussion, great debate. And I'm going to try to bring it from the legislation right down to common sense, because we've heard both ends of the spectrum here. So from the legislation, it's clearly stating that as council, we shouldn't be interfering with day-to-day operations. That's just a basic tenet of how we roll. We have a management team that's trying to get the most efficient work out of their team, headed up by senior administration. And we're trying to communicate that as much as possible, and we're getting a really good job done now with the communications director. This policy doesn't stop common sense. It's like when Councilor Roberts the other day, I was coming in, he was telling me somebody had really bad water quality. He was coming into a meeting anyways, just popped down and asked Ira, what's the problem down on Glen Street? That's common sense. This policy would not stop Councilor Roberts from doing that, or me, or anybody. We're on our way into the office. Remember, we have complaint procedures on our website. Anybody got a complaint, an issue that's calling one of us, I often, and I get a lot of calls as the mayor, that you can put your formal complaint in on our website, but often I will take that complaint, send to the CAO. He will then disseminate that down to department heads to try to find a solution or corrective action to deal with that. What's great about this, and I'll go back to one comment that Candace said, this policy will allow us to have more data retrieval. It will have more ability to communicate out to the residents that you can come in and meet with any member of staff, because there's a lot of our residents don't know this. That they can come in and meet with our economic development officer, our deputy CAO, our communications director. They might have an idea, but it should be organized and communicated that somebody just doesn't come in and walk into the building, because that person could be on holidays, they could be on sick leave, they could be doing a time pressured file, and it's about organizing. So when you look at everything, so like Councillor Roberts mentioned, I need some stuff. The fastest way to get something from department heads is to send an email to our deputy and CAO to say, I need this from this department. And I'll give you an example. You might need the Uplands document from economic development. Rather than the councillor coming in here on his days off, not at a planning and traffic meeting, where you could run down and ask Mike, there's any chance you can give me a copy of that public document, public, not a private document. It's so much easier than that, but if you need it, just an email to the CAO, he does the data retrieval, it goes to the person. So this is actually going to enhance us as councillors and have it communicated. But this isn't just us for councillors. This is for us, this is for our management team, and this is for the public. And this is a good document.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
And I'm not against revisiting like policy, and maybe this is a little prescriptive and we can move things out, but our job is to understand governance too, but policy drives operations. And we're looking to our staff to operationalize different things that we see in policy as important, right? Practice is not policy. And we've been forever trying to find policies up until finally Mike got some policies together now that are going through. But as a council, we've asked for policies. I've asked for policies over and over and over. Policies that don't exist. They existed in someone's head. And so practice is not policy. And so I see this as a really important piece. And even if we take out the things about calling for a meeting and all that, when this policy is operationalized, it's going to say, call for a meeting, do this, do that, do the other, right? So I don't see any of our policies as a way to limit our involvement. I see them as a way to enhance the effectiveness of the organization, which is what we, from a governance perspective, should be trying to do.
And remember, just overarching before I call for the vote, this doesn't kick out common sense, you know?
No.
This is common sense of civility in any organization. This is just, but all this is just, and it protects the department heads that an individual council can come in and ask for stuff that CAOs don't know nothing about, and getting on a file that may not be concluded. You know, it's so we have to be discreet. We have to know our roles as a council. So I think we had some great discussion. I think we got a decent.
I'm gonna make one
I
comment.
think before you clear it off, Mayor, you mean, when you look at policy, and I mean, certainly you mean the councillors, local business associations and partners wishing to engage. One would think that councillors, I mean, and when a document just says councillors, that includes the mayor and deputy mayor, would have a little bit more openness in town hall than a business partner or a resident coming in off the street.
Well, yeah, we have, well, you have a code, I have a code to come into the town office, we have that right. It's like our mailbox, and to request a meeting with our CEO. The general public don't have that.
No, but I mean, there's no good to have to go to the door. You can't talk to anybody when you get on the inside of the door. That's my issue. I mean, it was said the other day when this policy was presented, that the policy was generated because staff had concerns that their daily were being interrupted too much. Okay, and Candace just read that to me when she was reading that the policy wasn't meant to be harsh or unwelcoming. Well, that's where I'll say
Okay.
I think it's.
So before
I just want to emphasize, I'm not against policies. That's my world. I've been involved for 40 years. I served on boards, much bigger than the town of Stephenville. So I live and die policies. And policies are black and white, and you live and die by that black and white. This here still restricts, I still think it restricts my ability to get information I need to do my job on a timely manner. The organization, I'm not going to say no organization because I'm off it now. $150 million budget, $1.2 billion investments. I was on the investment committee and the finance committee. I can contact the CEO, the head of internal audit department, the head of the accounting department to get information I need. And I presided over the finance and investment meetings.
And
No questions asked.
And you
You
still,
still can't, there's nothing in the
Yes,
policy
you
that
do.
says you can't.
You said do. It says I has to call and set up a meeting.
you can make a
If
phone
you
call.
have a big agenda item, if you have an agenda.
I think.
Well, I think that, pardon my interruption, but I think that this policy should be deferred and come back to the table for discussion. Because there's too many opinions around. It's taken a lot of time. So I really think it should be, maybe a word or two could be changed or whatever, but I think there should be a bit more discussion on it. But really, we saw it all right when it came through, but when you're talking around the table with all of us, you get more input from it. So it would only be a matter of just deferring it till the next meeting and get a meeting in between for discussion.
I'll just go back to what I said. What Kansas answered my question, I thought was a great answer. It really was. But that doesn't seem to reflect the policy. What you're saying is as the CAO said, it's common sense. It's all the things that we normally do. And I think it's maybe sometimes the wording that councillors, local business associates, and partners wishing to engage in discussions with town staff of Stephenville schedule an appointment in advance. And that itself sort of says, okay, I'll send one off to Kansas or to Bill, and they go, I'm really busy today, maybe tomorrow.
Well,
That's okay. But I think it's a bit of that wording. And I know we apply common sense, and right about now, maybe we don't really see that in the policy. And I know policy, I've had to follow up myself. It is black and white.
so I guess the big thing.
Hey, as a prime example, one day last week, okay, I mean, then we all got our own lives and we're busy in our own lives, and some of us still work and holding on here. So you get 10 minutes or 15 free minutes as a member of council, you're trying to accomplish something, you come in town hall. When I came in, Bill and Candace were into a meeting with Bill's office. So I said, okay, I didn't interrupt, didn't knock on the door. So I'll wait around a few minutes and see if it breaks up. If it does, I can speak to Bill. If not, I'm going to have to catch him at another time. So in the meantime, Candace came out of Bill's office, came down hall. Just kept on Bill's door. You got a minute? Yes. So when we were discussing what we wanted to discuss, Candace was after going down the hall to get some information for what they were working on. When she came back in the office, she said to the end desk that she had left, and they quite politely said to me, Tom, we're on the time sensitive thing here. We need to get this done. Hold in. Perfect. Thank you. And
That request, Council Ryan, you could have sent a text to the CEO, deputy CEO, rather than coming in and knocking on somebody's door. You know what I'm saying?
It says here very, very clearly, principles of effective staff relations, right out of the handbook, municipal handbook. If roles of councillors and staff are not clearly understood, there's potential for conflict. et cetera, et cetera. It goes down through and it says, do not interfere. Council ensure senior staff performs their duties, but an individual counselor must not interfere with staff responsibilities or routine administrative matters. I mean, I don't know.
I'm not talking about interfering. I'm not talking about. I mean,
You were, if you wander down, all I'm saying is when you were the mayor, and there were no policies, by the way, which directed that stuff, so you came and went and came and went and came and went. But that has changed. We're trying to follow the processes and protocols. And part of that is not coming and going, coming and going. It's about trying to let staff do their work and let operations be operations and let us get the information we need for governance. That's what it's about.
Like, I'm the spokesperson of council. I look at this just doesn't stop me from getting anything that I'm normally done as the mayor for the last 6 years. This only actually helps enhance it and actually gives a little bit more respect to our management team and our department heads because it's got a policy attached to it. That's how I look at it. So I think for Councilor Edwards' perspective, if we defer this and we come back and have the same kind of discussion, I don't know how much we're going to gain other than we do have a motion and a seconder on the floor. We had discussion, debate, question. We call for a vote to see if this good policy that management, and remember, management didn't do this singularly. They followed the municipal regulations, but they also got feedback from their management staff and non-management staff. They're trying to run a really good professional organization, and they're asking for us to support them.
But in the meantime, I'm kind of hearing people say they're not against a policy. It's more they want to tweak it or change it. If
Yes.
deferring it would bring us all to the same place, defeating it wouldn't really get us anywhere, right? So, or barely passing it wouldn't get us anywhere if there's a way to go back and.
So maybe we'll take Councilor Edwards' recommendations, we'll defer it. Maybe we can just get that one line, the descriptor that ties in council and all the community groups and just separate that.
Yes.
Separate it for the same meaning, but separate it to make it a little clearer, and we'll bring it back to the next meeting.
Yeah.
For that.
I mean,
Okay, sorry.
It's got some good basis. Okay, I mean, although I guess we didn't have to do it yesterday because the policy, yes, and that's it, yes.
Good trial run.
But it was a good trial run. Okay, the business person in town asked me to check something out. Okay, so I know who had the knowledge. So I called Bill and said, Bill, so-and-so asked me to check this out for me. I think they'll talk to Matt. Bill said, okay, not a problem. I'll touch base with Matt and he'll touch base with you. Matt called me. He had shown me some mapping and stuff, and I came in and we done it. So, I mean, there's some good basis
And
here.
yeah, and you got to remember too, for the respect of our management and staff, we have a lot of meetings. We have 60-something meetings a year. 40-something meetings, 46 meetings on average are planning and finance. That's why new policy, there's a date time that if we want information, any of the information is not emergency or time compressed. It's designed to communicate that to our management staff. Management prepares, and everything looking at mapping and stuff like that, that's normally done at our committee meetings. So remember, there's a process here. So I'm here, and we've been here a long time, for almost close to 2 hours. So I think coming out of this, we'll get a little edit change, come back. So I guess we would request a deferral motion from Councilor
Yeah,
Aylward.
okay. Yeah, I would move that we defer
This
this
7.2.b.
this item and a request to adopt policy on visitors to town.
So I do have a motion to defer. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, Councilor Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Bye.
Hi.
Carry. Okay.
Yeah, just because, it,
That's fine.
I'll leave it.
Okay, is that the last thing for planning and traffic?
Yeah, well, Yes, it is. That's the last
Okay,
thing.
thank
Yeah,
you very much for that, Madam Chair.
welcome.
Okay, with no bylaws and regulations today, we almost had one. We almost had one.
The next time's a
Maybe
charm.
next time.
Next time's a charm.
Yeah. Unfinished business. Any unfinished business?
I'm gonna talk to the CAO after about a couple of things. Okay, and I do respect the chain of command. Okay.
Yeah, you,
You of all.
Yeah, of all people, yes.
people, yeah.
The background.
We get something.
Yeah.
No, under new business, he never called new business yet.
Huh?
Mayor never called new business yet.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
any new business? Anybody,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
after, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
After I got some.
I noticed that we got a new policy on the office opening to the general public, and it's an hour later in the day. And I do have a little bit concerned restricting the hours that our people coming to the office do whatever they got to do. Remember, we're here to serve the public. Our ultimate goal is to serve the public. So now we're saying we're not open at, work is at 8:30. The doors open at 9:30. So that kind of takes that hour off for people, working people or whatever, want to pay their bills, do permits or whatever. I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that has on our people.
so I guess I would probably defer this to our CAO because that was driven by our management team. They have a lot of weekly meetings. And I think we rationalized it.
Yeah,
before.
I can explain and the thinking, and of course, it's up to council to determine the validity. I mean, what we do is we try to have a management meeting every Monday. That meeting, we were excluding people who were here looking after the front desk. So we said, okay, for Monday initially, we said we would open later on Monday and have our 1 hour management meeting from 8:30 to 9:30. Or sometimes 9 to 9:30 was the concept. And then it was suggested that maybe we would be better off just opening daily at a 9:30 to give our management and department heads and others here who work in the office time to prepare for the day. Now, of course, preparing for the day is a part of what you do anyway. We understand that, but the suggestion received positive reinforcement from counselors when we circulated it, because of course we knew that it was something that was a little different. 9:30 versus 9 or 8:30. I don't know that hour, how much it happened in that 1 hour. Generally, it was thought there was not a lot of activity from 8:30 to 9:30 daily. In the overall scheme of the full hours of the day, from running things from 8:30 to 4:30 daily. Sometimes we have to close lunchtime. We generally have someone assigned to staff the front wicket for lunchtimes. In fact, that will happen tomorrow when a couple of our people are off. Another person will stay behind to make sure that it's staffed through the lunch hour, which I think is, there's always a lunch hour type of process. So we've implemented it, but we had a very positive feedback from counselors generally, and also from staff, because they thought, and it's not that they have that hour that they're not going to be doing anything. There is work to be done. There's work to catch up on, and so that was the proposal, and we thought it was well received. Again, we're here to receive feedback from the public. I don't think we had a single concern from public expressed at all.
No, and I'm just going to add that if we do experience public pushback, in that 8:30 to 9:30 was a significant time that staff or that the public would want to visit the town hall, then certainly we would reverse that decision, in the event that we had public concerns. But so far, we have not received one.
I don't have a single complaint or.
I think that's important. You'll get feedback, definitely. But I really see Monday morning, whichever way it goes, that we need to start that week off with staff direction and everything else to get going. Definitely Mondays, a lot of organizations, that's what they do. Definitely that one. And for the other ones, I guess I'll leave that, Candace and Bill, when you get feedback and so on, if there's a bit of an issue, then we'll leave that to you.
Don't forget that Mondays are holidays throughout the year, and therefore then they would have to
Move it to a Tuesday, yeah.
We move to Tuesday.
That's. Yeah.
People don't know the consistency. There's no consistency and the pattern is not developed, so.
And I got to you got an employee coming in right at 8:30, opening the doors, and then you got somebody
I don't know what.
at the
Yeah.
door walking in behind them. They haven't even put their, taken off their jacket. And, the only thing too, I gotta say too, that I know you guys have Monday morning meetings. I'm not a big supporter of Monday morning meetings. I think Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are better. That's just me. But, there's a lot of songs written about Mondays. Yeah.
I don't have a problem, and I think it's a good idea to have the staff meetings on Monday morning. But to have that hour cut off to 5 days a week, is a bit restrictive to people access to town hall. Like someone who works 9 to 5 will never get to town hall.
No, only, well, my issue, I got a bigger issue with when we're closed lunchtime, because I think that's when more people grab their lunch hour to run up and do things. But I think the other effective piece of having that hour to get ready for the first person that comes in and to get your work organized is not just for that weekly staff meeting, but in departments then, when they want to have their a quick meeting, or if someone needs to meet with someone or whatever, they know that that's a good time to do it because everyone's going to be available. Whereas not everyone's going to be available at other times, right? So that becomes then a good block where you know. I think we, support how you operationalize it, and in the event that we start getting feedback, any of us or from others, would you revisit?
And I think the other thing, we do have a new full-time administration frontline person that will be answering the phone when the phone rings. That was scripted into our job description in the plan. But these shutting down for noon hours won't happen now because we have our additional staff will cover that person for their lunch hour, whether it's 11 to 12 or 12 to 1 or 1 to 2.
Yeah.
So we're enhancing our front line. And I gotta say, it's, I often sometimes will call the front desk too, 8360, and I'll get the prompting. And we're gonna change that as of Monday. And that's a very positive thing for our residents.
Yeah.
Just comment, I work at Pentagon at about 15 minutes before 8 until 15 minutes after. Everything stopped.
Toolbox.
There was safety briefings. There was all the other stuff happened to get people going for the day. Now, I know what we do is a bit different, but then again, it gets people in the mindset to start work. I don't have a big issue with it. And I'll leave it to Kansas and Bill, if you get a lot of pushback and people start coming in, then maybe we'll make an adjustment, or maybe everybody will get used to it, and that's it.
Okay. Councilor Lowe?
Okay. Last night we had our beautification meeting at 7:30, pouring rain, and Matt took some minutes and stuff. Matt is on. There's Vi Keating, Paul Grenier, Ruth Lee, Matthew Sims, Randy Sims. Randy Green. They're related though. Randy and Matt. Yeah, Randy Green, Bernice Hancock, Patrick Mercer, and myself. So there was a concern from Paul that he's mentioned it. He said to a couple of former managers over and over that a fair number of our trees have to be they're dead.
Yes.
And they have to be replaced. So we talked about that, and they're going to do inventory to see how many.
Okay.
And a couple of the ladies are going to go around to see, check around different things to see what they can find that we can work on. So it was a good meeting, and we'll do all, what everybody took a little task to do. And I was told that the pavilion was the flowers and everything are watered by the students from BIA, which I didn't know. And that was good. But he was asking for, Paul was for maybe some volunteers sometime to go and clean up around the pavilion, which would be a good thing to do. So a lot of things got discussed. But anyway, we will have another meeting in a month's time and report back then what's going on. Now I got two concerns today regarding services at our hospital. I had a call yesterday that this person called up for her mammogram. And she was told there's no more mammograms being done at Sir Thomas Roddick. You have to go to Cornwall. Needless to say, I was on the phone a long time trying to get the powers that be. I finally didn't get a management person. I left messages. I got a hold of the girl in bookings. Anyway, I was told that it's 2 months or more that we have no technologists. And that's why there's no mammogram here. Now, we got a brand new machine only about a year ago. And this technician she's been there for a long time. So I don't know what's going on. If she's off sick or whatever, but the problem is Western are supposed to be sending out a replacement from there instead of all, our people having to go in there. So that's a big problem. So I would suggest anybody that's being told they got to do that they call the CAO of the board or the chief of radiology. When I called and left a message for her, I never got no call back. And
Worst thing is a lot of people won't feel comfortable doing that. I wonder, is there anything we can do though?
we got a meeting.
Could
Yes.
I make a suggestion, Councillor Aylward, that there be a letter drafted to Health NL indicating what you've determined about the problem and that it should be addressed. And so we put it in writing, at least they have to act and they have to respond. But just, making phone calls and that sort of thing, it does get much more easily ignored by management.
Well, what I was doing, I was calling on behalf of the West Coast Healthcare Action Committee. I wasn't calling on behalf of council.
But it would be nice if council could.
Yeah.
But I did say,
Yep.
I said also, I'm a counselor in the town of Stephenville.
Yep.
So I was wearing my two hats at the same time to let them know that this wasn't just a random person calling in, because there's a lot of new employees at Western as well. But that's one concern. So if the town council mayor could draft a letter, Candace would help, I'm sure, to get the mammogram situation mentioned, and also the anesthesiologist problem as well.
We could probably add that because that's new information.
Yeah.
Gathered.
Yeah,
Because we have a formal letter gone to the
Yes.
chief of radiology and the CAO
yeah,
of Western Regional Health Services, Deputy Mayor, Deputy
yeah.
Mayor, Deputy Chief
Deputy Chief.
Administration Officer.
Yeah.
Got that sent out. So let's probably get that and add it to that communique. And because we've asked for an in-person meeting.
I know. Yes, I know. I realize that.
Yeah, after that, that came up last meeting that we're going to request the.
So that request is gone.
The request is gone, yes. And the other thing is when you talk about surgeries, like I said before, we got 2 surgeons here, 1 till September. And here you have, now you got no anesthesiologist. I mean, come on. I mean, where's the other one too? There's 2, but there's 1, but I don't even know what's going on. He's not even working. The other anesthesiologist resigned, but they had 3 months to give him, he wants parity. He wants the same wages they're paying their specialists in Western. Now, you tell me that's not fair. They're getting paid different from ours. That's not fair. So that's a big problem right there.
And to me too, if Gander, like I said, when Gander and Grand Falls suddenly were looking at losing obstetrics, one of them, everybody jumped into action, and within 2 or 3 weeks that was reversed. And we're here constantly asking questions and asking the same questions year after year, and nothing's being done. I think we're gonna have to somehow start.
Well, I made I
Community again.
I sent off, actually, I sent off an email to the premier about the anesthesiologist. That was before I knew about the mammogram situation.
Yeah.
So it's the same old story. Regardless, it's one board, but it seems they're not listening to the,
And if
To
there's
the-
one thing
to
I
the
can
board.
add to that, this is my recommendation, is that when we get the meeting, discuss mammography, anesthetists, surgeons, recruitment, retention, all the tenet of issues that's been facing us here and we've been working diligently on, that we would invite mayors or a designate from every municipality, from Portavass, Burgeo, Cape St. George, to that meeting.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation, because This is the regional hospital from Portamass to Burgeo to Cape St. George. And we cover, remember, Corner Brook South got a bigger population than Corner Brook North. We have a big population, so I think strength in numbers, strength in urgency of priority, that healthcare is a big priority.
And I think we need to be very strategic about the agenda and how we present things. Like,
Yeah.
we need facts around, fact.
Topic, yeah.
There's going to be
Agenda.
fact. There's going to be more absence because we have this and this and this fact. There's aging population fact, etc. And given all that,
Our West Coast Healthcare Action Committee, when it was formed in 2003, we had 2 huge rallies. We filled the dome.
right.
But, Western Health, as it was, I got to say, whenever our committee wanted a meeting with them, we'd have a yearly one, sometimes 2. They would all come out here.
Usually 2.
Yeah, they'd come out and we'd have our meetings and everything, and we talk about, whatever, but they'd want to know what the agenda was, so we'd have an agenda for them. But I remember Dr. Ginge saying to me, God rest his soul, we were walking out the door and he said, you know what? He said, that was a really good meeting we had there today. He said, if it wasn't for your committee, he said, I don't know where your hospital is.
So I think the big
But
thing.
not only that, we're even smaller now in the broad scheme
Yeah.
of a one board.
Elmwood Hill is the single.
We're further away
Yeah.
from this, the people that are supposed to be listening. So we need to support
But-
our Western rep
Yeah.
to
So
be a louder voice, right?
But the facts are still the facts.
Absolutely.
Because there used to be some interesting meetings between Laura, most years we met twice, because I was on the Western Healthcare Board.
Yeah.
Vice chair and then acting chair and all that stuff. So some of those meetings were very interesting. So Laura would be the chair of the West Coast Action Committee, and I'd be there as the acting chair of the Western Board. But we spoke to each other respectfully, and we worked with a common goal, and we got things moved forward.
Yeah.
And there's some things we got moved forward as a corporation. And the only reason why we got to move forward as a corporation is that we had the community support group headed up by Laura backing us up in the public with the public movement.
Yep.
So the strength of numbers.
So as soon as we get a confirmation of the meeting, I would then recommend management reach out and get designates from every council.
Yeah.
Get them to the room.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So anything else, Councilor Hayward? Okay, anybody else for new business before we adjourn?
No, we got notice of motions.
What's that?
Notice of motion.
Oh, yeah. So the only other thing I just wanted to mention, last Friday, our deputy CAO had our municipal enforcement officer spending all Friday on Main Street. We are getting a lot of feedback over the last few years from our businesses on Main Street. Everything from theft, pilfering to illegal parking. And Friday is the busiest day on Main Street in Stephenville, Newfoundland. So I hope that our enforcement officer is there tomorrow, issuing tickets and doing his job.
But for those who are listening, he may show up on other days too.
Yes.
I'm not shut on Thursday.
We also encourage the RCMP to have their members out on that day as well. And I'm sure they have a large area to police, but that would be helpful to us all.
Just as comment on that, I got some pictures, text sent to me by text of all kinds of vehicles, from parking on sidewalks to parking in the crosswalk.
Yeah.
And I drove by the other day and yep, they were there.
So on that note, it is 2:07 p.m.
No smoke.
We need a motion.
Notice of motion.
No, there's a motion.
But there's 3, and I gave you all copies of it. There's 2 meetings back under notice of motion. The first one, let it be resolved the staff not act on the directions from any one member of council or council committee, but rather act on the decisions of council.
Just a question.
That's part of the municipal direction.
You have to follow that under the legislation. That's already in the legislation. Do it require a motion?
Well, we should get a second before it's discussed.
Okay.
Or it doesn't
So
need
we
to
have
discuss.
Okay, I'll second.
second. Okay, discussion.
I think that's that's part of the direction that we're given in our handbook and training. I don't see why we need to
Yeah, but
make a motion.
yeah, but it hasn't always been followed.
Well, see, that's why we were talking about policy earlier.
Yeah, well, and you referred to it earlier that
It's right there in the.
I'm really telling people what to be doing. So I mean, the
So we want to put a motion on just to,
That we've created the
reinforce
policy
that reinforce what's already, what we know in legislation.
Yeah.
Okay, motion second.
That's
All
all
in favor?
about, that's all about.
Okay,
Leadership.
perfect. The second one, be resolved, no one member of council to commit the town to disposal of town assets or financial obligation without the prior approval of council.
Can't do that anyway.
Well, I think, I believe town assets have to go out on public,
We can't do that anyway.
Yeah, there's a section in municipal handbook
Yeah.
directly to that effect.
Yeah,
So it won't hurt to make the motion.
who wants us to make the motion?
What's the second?
No.
no,
I'll second. Second.
Second by Council Darrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it
But
reinforces
I
legislation.
guess all I'm asking is why it's coming in the form of a motion? Why can't it just be a discussion point at some point if it's a concern? It just seems weird to me, but then again. I'm here.
But if it reinforces the legislation, then we're just saying, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so we have a motion, seconder.
All right, then we should read all the legislation out then.
Okay.
I'll bring that in as a notice motion.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, the only concern is sometimes that the wording of what you've passed may in fact not equate with and potentially is diminishing to the way it's written in legislation or in the municipal handbook. Like, again, we can carve it up a lot and, you know, it's supportive of what is written in the municipal handbook. So I don't think we need to be too concerned about that. But that, if the wording at all, it's almost like if you add extra wording to something sometimes, even a comma can trip up a contract, right? If the comma's in the wrong place, contracts sometimes get decided by courts.
And for me,
Yeah.
we have committee meetings. If
Yes,
there's an issue or someone got an issue with Buzz, this is what I'm hearing, someone did that, like, we need to bring that up and discuss it in our meetings, but putting it forward in the form of a motion also, to me, seems to, it just opens up another, something that everybody got to interpret again. Oh, what's going on in there now that we're passing a motion on stuff that they're supposed to be already doing? And suddenly we lose public trust again. It makes it just.
so there's a level of redundancy in doing that, which, you know, restating that which is already on the books
Yeah.
of legislation that you have to act by. As a council, we are created under the Municipalities Act, right? Everything falls under the Municipalities Act. So even though you've voted on one and passed it, I really think we should take, you know, it's there that the three of them should be studied to see if they are in any way different from what you are to follow under the municipal handbook. And I know, Councillor, you and I have discussed the fact that they're very similar to, if not exactly the same, but I think to protect council, we should ensure that they're at least reviewed and then bring back to council. So my recommendation at this time, because I'm not knowing as to whether you vote on them now, I thought they were tabled. They weren't really put on the agenda. So I think for the sake of council, we should take them away as you've written them and let's review them in light of the municipal handbook.
Okay.
And then bring them back to council for, and also seek some guidance as to whether they should be adopted in their current form or not.
You can make a motion that will strengthen the
Correct.
any part of legislation under the municipality sector.
As long as it doesn't run
Under
foul.
the code of conduct, as long as it doesn't weaken it.
Mhm.
These three strengthen it.
Well, I can't say that. I have to review them in legislation and our instructions from municipal affairs.
So the one that,
I think it's fair, you know, coming from the CAO, redundancy and, having motions are for stuff that goes to planning and finance a late motion, something like this that's already tabled in the legislation that we, remember, we all put our hand on the Bible and signed in as counselors to follow the rules and the regulations. And I think from a procedural perspective, I think the recommendations of the CAO is warranted, that let him go back and overview the legislation to ensure that this is not redundant.
Well, or it's not creating other issues.
Because I think the code of conduct takes care of that. If someone's going outside of what they're supposed to do, there's two processes. One is the CAO and or deputy CAO should be bringing it to the attention of the person who's doing it. And the second is there's a code of conduct and it's very clear in that.
Yeah.
That you've breached certain things as well.
So on this, so you guys, council has already taken one of these motions, voted on it.
We can
My recommendation is that you go back and
Rescind it.
you rescind that, let staff take the three of them, have them evaluated. We will determine if there is any issue, and if there is no issue, they can be brought back. If there is an issue, we'll report back to council.
Okay, I ask for a motion to rescind.
Okay, when you're going to rescind the motion, I think the mover and seconder has to be in agreement.
Yeah,
No,
Better check that before you do it.
no, it doesn't say that in municipal handbook. There's no, a rescinding the motion doesn't have to actually come from the person who moved and second. Because when you move and second, you can actually be for or against.
and you can rescind, another council in future can rescind the prior motion
Yeah.
of a previous council. So one would think
Which is
that.
why, by the way, I've asked to have hard copies of some of the books here so that we can.
So on recommendations of the CAO for procedural process, I would ask that we defer, rescind the previous motion as stated by Councilor O'Brien. Can I get a mover? Moved by Councilor Laura Edwards, second by Councilor Myra White. All in favor?
Aye.
Contramine? Noted, one contramine, 6 carry. Okay. On that note, I would move. Moved by Councilor O'Brien, seconder. Second, Councilor Lloyd, signs all in favor, put it in.
Did I see?
Okay, wait a second, now it's not over.